Hello and welcome to Reboot Sequel or Nothing. This is kind of something I tried once a long time ago in a galaxy not so far away. And the premise is pretty simple. I'm going to look at some classic games of old and go on if they need like a reboot the series, need a new sequel to it, or if it's just better to let old sleeping dogs lie. The series in today is the Soul Reaver and Legacy of Kain series. Playing in the background is Soul Reaver 2, released in 2001. It was developed by Crystal Dynamics and released by Eidos Interactive. Yeah, so Legacy of Kain. Well, before we get to the nitty gritty on the reboots and the sequels and the what-whats, I just quickly want to play this. Michael Bell once again returns as Raziel, and his voice is fantastic again. Just listen to the guy, seriously, his voice is perfect.
Throughout the stronghold, I discovered evidence of my former nobility and my life as a Sarafan priest. This was the heritage so foully stolen from me when Kain raided my sacred crypt and defiled me. Away from the influence of Mobius's cursed staff, I could feel the strength of the Soul Reaver slowly returning. If that orb was as debilitating to vampires as it was to the blade, it gave Mobius a powerful advantage over his enemies. I finally understood how Mobius's crusade could decimate the vampires so successfully. If he could immobilize his enemies, they were at his mercy. But why, I wondered, would the staff have any effect on the Reaver? As I neared the stronghold's inner sanctum, a strange sensation crept over me. An indescribable feeling of displacement, a sense of vertigo, as reality itself appeared to warp and bend around me. The disturbance seemed to emanate from the sanctuary's furthest chapel. As I cautiously approached, the sense of dislocation intensified with each step. So this was the tomb of the beloved King William the Just, beatified here as the martyr and catalyst of Mobius's crusade. I was reminded of Kain's journey as a fledgling vampire, how Mobius coerced him to travel back in history and assassinate William, thus igniting a genocidal hatred of vampires among the citizens of Nosgoth. And here I discovered the source of the displacement, the Soul Reaver itself, laid out like a holy relic, and broken, apparently in the battle between William and Kain. I had not thought such a thing was possible. Until, of course, Kain shattered the blade against me when he tried to strike me down. Thus, the captive spirit inhabiting the Reaver was released, and binding itself to me became my symbiotic weapon. And so the Reaver met its former self, still imprisoned in this corporeal shell. I watched, mesmerized, as the Wraith blade uncoiled itself and snaked down the length of the physical blade. Embracing its twin, its mirror self, the Reaver's long-dormant spirit was now fully aroused. And for the first time, I felt the true presence of this other entity, willful, ravenous, and deranged from thousands of years of imprisonment. The Reaver was now in command, and I, now merely its helpless host, felt my soul being leached to restore the blade. But the Reaver knew better than to destroy its host, and just as I neared the brink of oblivion, the blade released its hold on me. As I recovered, I realized we were now bound together in a fragile alliance. The Reaver no longer merely my symbiotic weapon, but a sentient parasite competing for control.
What have you done to me, Mobius? Is this your trap? How mine? Don't forget it was Kain who led you here, not I. While you curse me,
The only soul in Nosgoth ready to guide and assist you, Kain laughs at our folly and revels in your dismay.
These blades, now coiled in sinister embrace, have inspired terror in the hearts of creatures far more durable than you, old man. Bound together as they are, I can only imagine what they could do to your soul's fragile shell.
Raziel, I beg you to stay your hand. This was none of my doing. I have sought only to aid you in your righteous quest.
Why, you're trembling, Mobius. Has your confidence abandoned you? You seem to have made a fatal error by leaving your precious staff behind. Is that where all your courage comes from?
Listen to me, Raziel. You don't know what you're doing. I have taken an enormous risk by appearing here before you, so defenseless, yet eager to prove my good intentions. If there's anything left of the Seraphim in you, you won't do this. While you threaten me, your true enemy eludes you.
Don't concern yourself with Kain, old man. He'll join you in hell soon enough. As you said, death comes for us all.
Yes, the wheel of fate demands it.
What did you say?
The wheel of fate. The inexorable cycle of death and rebirth to which all men are compelled. We serve the same God, Raziel. To strike me down would be striking God's own attendant. And I don't believe even you would take that risk.
I tire of your games, Mobius. Now that I know you fear me, I needn't concern myself with you. Kain is waiting for me.
Go then, Raziel. Seek Kain out and destroy him, in the name of the one God we both serve. You, who were once a Seraphim priest, murdered, profaned, destroyed, and reborn again from his mercy. You are now most powerfully equipped to be his agent, his instrument of restoration and retribution.
My own vengeance is motivation enough.
By my soul, you almost had me, my little blue assassin. But that'll be the one and only chance you get. I assure you of that.
I could now summon the blade at will, regardless of my strength. But once summoned, the blade's ravenous appetite could not be contained. It devoured the souls of its victims, and if I allowed it to become over-aroused, the Reaver would now turn its hunger on me.
So, well, I was playing Legacy of Kain 2 for the footage, and I don't know, the controls seemed clunky, if that makes sense. I had some problems playing with the mouse and keyboard, maybe because I'm so used to playing most of these games now with a gamepad, and I tried running the game with Xpadder, and for some reason it did not want to work with DX Story also in the background. So if you want to run the game with an Xbox 360 controller, maybe Xpadder will work, but I could not get it running. For some weird reason it would not work. And let's get to the nitty-gritty on the series. You know, it's called Reboot, Sequel, or Nothing, so what's my opinion? And this is kind of a sad one for me, because I am a huge fan of the Legacy of Kain series. You know, I played the first Legacy of Kain game, I played Legacy of Kain 2, Blood Omen, I played Soul Reaver, I loved that one, played Soul Reaver 2. I'm not sure if I ever played Soul Reaver 3 or Legacy of Kain 3 Defiance. For some reason I can't remember if I played it, but I do know I think I might have it. I might one day go back and play it again, but for now it's in my back catalog and I have other things to play. So yeah, let's get to the sad part. So, in this year of 2015, it was revealed that there was indeed going to be a sequel to Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver series, starting a new franchise. If I was correct to call it was known as Legacy of Kain Dead, which has which has an interesting title for me, you know, because apparently a plotline would have involved a vampire baby, so dead son, dead son. You know what I mean. Anyway, you would have played Asher/Geen, which was going to be interesting, as you would be a half vampire. Actually, you would be something akin to what Raziel was in the original Soul Reaver games. A vampire that could shift between the realities, one into the corporeal world and another one to the spiritual world. And it looked pretty cool. It's a new Legacy of Kain game. We haven't had one in a while. I think the last one was released in 2002. Yeah, last game we had in the Legacy of Kain series was in 2002. And, you know, the footage from Dead Sun looked cool. I really would have loved if the game would have happened. The one video showing off the boss, you know, that took the pregnant lady into her bosom, so to speak, really reminded me almost of what Death looked like in the Hellboy 2 movies, which was really cool. It's kind of sad that it just never happened, you know. We never got Legacy of Kain 3, you know, or we never got the game Legacy of Kain, you know, we never got Legacy of Kain Dead Sun, and it sucks. You know, it kinda does suck that the single-player story game of Legacy of Kain Dead Sun had to die for NeoGAF to be created. Now, nothing against NeoGAF or anybody who plays it. I played a little bit, and for me it's okay. But with so many free-to-play shooters and games out there, you know, it's really not my cup of tea. So with this wrapping up, I have to finally decide, you know, what would we like? Would we like to see the series rebooted? Would we like to see the sequel we never got? Or should we just leave the series where it's going now, in the free-to-play arena? And honestly, I don't know, I'm torn. I'm genuinely torn on this one. On the one hand, I would love to play Dead Sun. I would love to see how the story goes. The story sounded interesting, from the whole vampire cult that almost, in a way, say, worshipped Raziel, in the sense of that they became Soul Reavers themselves. That I would be fan of interesting, you know, just the whole lore, the way where the story was going, where it was heading, and yeah, unfortunately, we'll probably never know unless Square Enix changes their minds. Says, wait, people that wanted to play this game, we have to rush it out. But then again, if they rush it out, will it be the same game? Will it be polished? Will it be done well again? You know, as I said, I got nothing against NeoGAF. It's just not a very fun game for me. I like the idea of NeoGAF, but I feel the execution could have been done a bit better. I don't know. There's something in the game that doesn't work for me. I want to like it, but I just can't like it. I don't know. It's probably because I prefer single-player games, but then again, I'm also a huge fan of War Thunder. So how do I explain that?
How do I get out of here?
On the other hand, a reboot of the series could be interesting. You know, I would love to see kind of what they did with the new Tomb Raider game. You know, just reboot, not recreate or redo Raziel and Kain, but probably just do a modern day HD remake with better graphics, better story, the same excellent voice acting. You know, that could be fun, you know, because let's face it, the PC controls on Soul Reaver 2 aren't great. I struggled my ass off with it, and honestly, I don't know, I'm torn. I'm really torn with this one, and now I've made up my mind. We're going full steam ahead on this one now. So, the final verdict. What is it going to be? Is it going to be a reboot, a sequel, or nothing? Sequel! Okay, the reason I chose sequel for the simple reason, Dead Sun has been in development for a while, and from what I understand, it roughly stopped before the point where motion capturing was going to happen. So I would assume it's near the end of the game. So they could theoretically get the game out, dust off the programming, polish it up, maybe make it work. But then again, maybe it's not going to work due to the people who worked on the game is not working on it anymore. But we will see. But for my money, I would love to have a sequel to a standalone single-player Legacy of Kain game, whether it be Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver, or the unreleased Dead Sun game. I would love a single-player game. I might play NeoGAF again, but it doesn't do it for me. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time with the next Reboot, sequel or nothing. Bye-bye.